All right, excellent. And here we are, our final run of day one of the Trans Rights Are Magical Marathon. We have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the PS1 version again, with Rico, who is going to be running the 80% no major glitches category. So, Rico, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Hey, everybody. So, quick, small minor corrections. Any percent no major skips, but same idea. So yeah, my name's Rico. I'm HP1 PS1 speedrunner, and you guys saw this run earlier, or this game earlier today, run by Ginge. So we're going to do a different category. I'll count down from 3, and then on go we can start the timer, and then I'll just explain it during the opening cutscene. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so there's a 1.5 minute unskippable cutscene at the beginning of the game, so this is the best time to explain this category. So, anybody who saw the Any Percent run earlier today knows that this game is very broken and has several skips that cut out almost half an hour from the game. So, I want to say a couple months ago, a bunch of the HP1 PS1 runners got together and said, hey, we should have a category that doesn't have all those skips so that we can have a category that shows off more of the game that isn't 100%, because 100% is a cool category, but it's also a very frightening one because it has a lot of RNG, and it has a lot of stuff that can cause minutes of time loss, most notably Gringotts. So 100% is not a super popular category, and this was a category that we felt would be more accessible for people who wanted to play like a more complete category, I guess. So there's 4 skips that we consider the major skips, which are the Fire Seed skip, the Early 4-Eyes skip, which is an obsolete skip that's not even used in any percent anymore, the Quidditch Abuse, and then the Clody skip at the end of the run. So this category bans all 4 of them. So we will be seeing pretty much the way the game is intended to be completed, but it gets rid of all the worst aspects of 100%. So it's you still see most of the game, but it's still like overall really entertaining.
Better be Gryffindor.
All right. So the first like 15 to 20 minutes of the run is identical to any percent. So this will look very similar to what was seen earlier today. Also, we get this we get to see how fantastically the character models have aged with time.
Welcome to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I am Albus. No. Oh.
Alright, so this is a little neat optimization you can do at the very beginning here. If you just hold up straight up on the D-pad and then just straight diagonal upright, you can just skip this staircase entirely. I bossed it a little bit, but basically it saves time from having to run down the staircase.
Hey Harry, remember me? Ron Weasley? That slime. I think it was your...
Alright, so here we have to do a 6.5 minute tutorial. Or it's more like 4 minutes because of... The split is 6.5 minutes, but about 2 of that is just getting into the library. But this is basically the game's way of telling you how everything works. The tutorial is actually like a pretty difficult part of the run to optimize. There's some ledge jumps that I just don't go for because they're very risky, but like they can add up and save a lot of time.
Follow me. To jump.
Alright. So there I just did what we call Ron skip. If you land on that bookcase, then a cutscene triggers where Ron tells you about these feathers that you have to collect to open the door. But if you just grab the side of it, you can bypass that trigger entirely.
Hello, Harry. Look, if you want to look.
Oh, I got bad RNG there. Yeah, whether or not Nick stands there for a little bit and just like tilts his head some more is just completely random, and if he does stand there for a little bit, it just loses a couple seconds. There's not much you can do about it. So you can do some jumps here to just save a little bit of time on grabbing ledges, but it's very bad to miss them, like, because if you do, then you fall all the way down to the bottom of the room. So I just did the ones that I'm most comfortable with there. Alright, and then this is where we get the first spell in the game, which is Flipendo. And this is the main primary attacking spell in the game, but we're not going to use it because these snails are just pointless. Yeah, so one thing that is kind of a minor point across the entire run is that you don't want to like fully complete some of these tasks. Like I didn't move that block all the way to the end because completing certain tasks gives you house points, and you actually want to get as few house points as possible because it just saves a bit of frames, because there's house point cutscenes in the middle of the game where all the house points you've collected just end up in the hourglasses in the Great Hall, and naturally those are shorter if you have less house points. And the house points don't serve any function outside of 100%, so in every other category you just don't want them.
I never. Now I've lost my. Use the R.
Oh, that was a really good 3 books.
The lever is around.
Alright, so we're almost at the end of the tutorial.
There.
Is that a Ravenclaw hat? Yes, it is. I'm mostly wearing it because my hair is too long because I haven't gotten one in a while because of the pandemic. Like, I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. But I figured it was fitting to just rep a Harry Potter house. Which also happens to be the house that I was sorted into because it's the best house.
Gotta agree with that. Gotta agree with that take. I'm a Gryffindor as well, so...
My girlfriend's in Slytherin. That house was okay, I guess. Alright, so yeah, this is the end of the tutorial. The story reason for this tutorial is that Draco Malfoy stole your owl Hedwig, and you have to save her from the giant cage that she was in. As to why Draco Malfoy stole your owl, I couldn't really tell you. Alright, so Hedwig is freed and then just immediately gives us a broomstick. So now we're about to go to flying lessons.
Wow! I'll show you where.
So if I move properly, I can actually dodge this cutscene where Ron tells us stuff. I did not dodge it. If you go fast enough, you can reach the door before he tries to talk to you, and then you just skip that dialogue, but it's not really a big deal.
I am Madam Who. There is a house. Stay your broom.
So this is Madam Who. There is a house, according to what she just said. So when flying, you want to turn as little as possible because it slows you down a little bit, so you just want to like hit the edges of these rings. This first phase is really easy. You don't even have to move up and down at all.
Excellent tech. The next test. Fly through. Ready, Potter?
So this flying minigame houses my favorite sound effect in the entire game, so we'll see if I can get it. It happens when you get close to Madam Hooch.
Oh.
There it is. Oh! So Ginge mentioned in her run that when you run this game on a PS2, which I am doing, these flying sections can be very laggy. I can confirm that is correct. Flying is a bit of a mess on console because of lag. It's worse during Quidditch matches. Like, this flying lesson isn't too bad, but it can get annoying. But the reason console is faster is because of fast disk speed, which is an option that PS2s have, which if you use it for a PS1 game, it cuts every single load time down by, I want to say, about half. And overall it saves probably close to like 2 or 3 minutes over the run. So it's very useful. Yeah, this last section isn't too bad. It can be a bit rough if you're uncomfortable with it, but it's really easy to just go through all these rings.
You've mastered. Now run along.
Alright, now here's Dill Wingo's favorite dialogue. He's the world record holder in any percent.
No, I am not.
So this is Hermione, but we're not sure because she said no, I am not. The best part about this game is just like what the dialogue turns into when you skip all of it. Yeah, so we're up to our first class, which is Charms. And for some reason, Ron doesn't actually say anything when he tries to tell you something there. Alright, so there's this really, really difficult skip to not talk to a student. I really hope I get it. Man, I'm so glad I got that. So, to get to class, you have to do these obstacle courses. I'm not really sure how this school passed, like, code of conduct or anything, because there's probably a handful of health code violations to having your students have to run an obstacle course to get to class. But we passed the obstacle course, and now we're going to learn Charms. Or we're going to learn Wingardium Leviosa. And it's basically kind of a rhythm game, I guess, except not really. Basically, you just have to hit the correct button when the cursor goes over it.
Perfect. Superb. That was good. Excellent. Perfect.
Yeah, so there are four classes like this in the game, and they all essentially follow the same idea. And again, in any percent, you skip 2 of them, but in no major skips, you do all 4 of them. So we will see that 3 more times.
Press the trap.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Well done.
Right, and that was Charms. So next up is the first boss fight, which is with Malfoy. And basically, we get this letter from Hagrid, the greatest character in the game, and he wants us to meet him for tea, so we have to leave the castle. But Malfoy is standing in front of the door and blocking it, because at 11 years old, he has the ability to bar people from exiting the building. So we have to get him to go away. And jumping off this ledge is faster than taking the stairs.
Well, Pop. This is as far trapped in Wingardium Leviosa.
So this is a magical school. So the key to opening the door is to just put the hourglasses in place, and that opens the door. And then somehow, for some reason, the door like blasts open, and Malfoy assumes it's your fault because it probably is. So now we have to fight him. But we don't use magic in this fight. We use what are called wizard crackers, and all 3 phases of this are controllable. So the movements I'm doing here are specifically to get Malfoy to do exactly what I want him to.
Crab.
And then he summons Crab, who flexes on all the haters. Alright. Yeah,
He definitely had one arm with more muscles than the other, right? Did I just misspeak that?
Probably. Maybe he skips like 1 arm day. Yeah. So now Malfoy summons Goyle, and in this 3rd phase, you can actually get a double hit on Malfoy. It's not too bad, but it can be a little tricky, so we'll see if I get it. And I have to dodge these super wizard crackers that Malfoy has now. Alright, I got the double hit. Cool. And yep, that was Malfoy 1. That fight looks like it's really easy, but it's actually, there's a lot to it to make sure you don't lose any time. Like, even like 1 mistake can be very costly in that fight. And then, very funny moment here where Crab runs the wrong way, and then he realizes it and runs the other way, and we have to watch this for like, I don't know, 15 seconds or something. Harry didn't get the frog. Alright, so there's like about a minute of cutscene here, so if there's any donations, this would be a good place to do it.
No donations, but I always have some stuff to say. So, like we've been pushing, we are trying to hit our brand new goal of $500 after you smashed our $200 goal in the first 2 runs of the day. So if we do hit that $500 goal in support of Trans Lifeline, we will have a special announcement at the end of day 1. I would really like to get it by the end of day 1, so let's see if we can get that 73 more dollars in.
Gryffindor.
I would highly recommend it. This is a very good cause. So
Gryffindor are in the lead on houseworks.
also, my favorite thing about these house point cutscenes is that it sounds like the voice that says Ravenclaw says Ravenclaw. This is just every time it's just like Ravenclaw. Alright, so now we're about to gaze upon the absolute specimen that is PS1 Hagrid. Also, Harry is so enamored by the outside. I swear from the back, Hagrid just looks like a loaf of bread.
Hello, Harry.
Look at that face, though.
Come round me.
Absolute perfection. I strive to be a man like him. Alright, so we're going to the second class now, which is Herbology. And you're supposed to move all 4 of these blocks to get to the top of the obstacle course, but we only have to move 1. Again, like, you don't want to move all of these because you get more house points. It's also just way faster to just only move 1.
Harry Potter, goodies. Right.
Alright, so we're gonna learn Incendio.
Get ready.
Incendio basically lets us burn plants that are getting in our way. And there is a trick called Fast Incendio. We'll see if I can get it. The controllers I was using yesterday and a couple days ago when I was practicing, I was not able to get it, so hopefully switching back to my old PS2 controller should help. It might have just been an issue with inputs.
Perfect.
But if not, it's not a big deal. It's just a couple seconds.
Well done. Now follow.
So every Incendio has a specific set of button inputs you need to complete it, and it doesn't change, so I know exactly what the inputs here are going to be.
Incendio!
There we go.
Excellent.
Alright, and now we head over to Hagrid. Just down this long tunnel. There's Fred and George. We don't talk to them in this category. So this is Raymond. He dropped his kitten down the well. What an idiot. I'm ashamed to be in the same house as him. Poor cat.
I used to have a puffs game.
And Ron gives us the most important piece of lore in the entire Harry Potter universe. He used to have a Puffskein. And then he just runs off. Alright, so now Hagrid tells you before you have to get tea, you have to brave like the lava-induced castle grounds to get some fire seeds for him. And in any percent we would skip this, but this is no major skips, so we can't. And this is Neville. He's running away from something scary. In his defense, though, this next boss fight, in my opinion, is actually very terrifying for a small child. I used to, like, hate getting to this part of the game just because of this fight. So this is the Gargoyle. And it makes that noise. And that noise. And it likes to not get hit sometimes, so it's really just, it's just bundles of fun. Ugh. If there's any reason to run any percent, it's because you don't do this fight.
Wingardium Leviosa.
This fight just makes me uncomfortable, just every single sound effect. But thankfully this is like not too long of a fight. Alright, so this is the fire seed section. There's actually a lot of really cool like small skips you can do here. Yeah, clarification of the category. So there were talks of a glitchless category, but not only did we find it hard to define what precisely was and wasn't a glitch, we also felt like a category that got rid of every single unintended like bug in the entire game wouldn't be too interesting, so we decided to just go for a category that got rid of the skips that's caused the biggest amounts of sequence breaking in the run. So like we have small stuff like this skip here. So this is a Puffskein skip. Basically, if you just like walk across this wall, you actually, when you touch the vent, you gain enough height to grab the ledge. And what you're supposed to do there is guide a Puffskein into the little like indent in the floor, and by it sitting on that, you gain enough. The air vent gains enough height to just push you up there, which is really, really slow. So this just saves a lot of time. This second one is a little tricky, but it's not too bad. A lot of it has to do with your angle and how quickly you're walking into the wall. All right, this last one can be very finicky though, so let's see. Yeah. This is like the worst one. There we go. And then there's this really long pan of showing us the pathway to get to the fire seeds. And I really have to question who thought it was a good idea to have a river of lava on a school grounds. And have it be accessible to students. That's my other concern. Like, nobody thought that was a bad idea. Yeah, so those are the fire seeds. We are actually nice to Hagrid and get them for him in this category, so. Oh, well, I tried to skip a platform and messed it up, so Harry landed in the lava and is somehow alive. These platforms are very aggressive when they break. I don't do a fast incendio there just because it moves so quickly that it barely would make a difference, and it's really hard to time it. Yeah, so those are the fire seeds, and now we have to walk all the way back. Intentionally damage is there to avoid having to grab an extra ledge.
Sounds like it could be a good time for a donation, maybe?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's probably at least another minute or two before we go back to Hagrid.
All right, awesome. Well, we did just have a donation come through, $22.65 from Anonymous, saying trans rights are human rights. Also, they're magical, of course. And that puts us exactly at $450, $50 away from that $500 goal. So let's get it.
You guys have to help us reach that goal. I want to know what this announcement is. Unfortunately, you do have to walk all the way back to Hagrid, which is very annoying. And I know there's like one spot in the game where you can death abuse and it saves a lot of time. So I tried that when we were first making this category, and it just straight up doesn't work. If you grab the fire seeds and then die, you have to grab the fire seeds again. So it just doesn't work here. And I don't know why it's like that. Most places in the game you cannot death abuse and have it be useful, but there's just one spot where you can, and it's very odd. And then I'm going to snipe Neville, and I missed. Snipe Neville again.
Well done,
But I think I got
Harry.
him that time.
Now I can show you. Come on inside. Welcome to me.
This is Hagrid's hut, and this is Hagrid's big-ass egg.
Go ahead. You've done it.
And that is Norbert the Dragon.
Up you come.
Also, Hagrid has a portrait of Dumbledore in his hut, which, like, I guess I respect, but it's also kind of interesting. And then this is the book Quidditch Through the Ages. Hagrid gives it to us because we're such a great friend.
Oh, see you.
Doesn't everyone have a picture of their boss in their house?
Oh, yeah, totally. That was the first thing I did when I got my new job. I got a picture of my boss and put it in my house.
Yeah, as part of orientation, they give you a photo in the you know, in the packet.
Yeah. All right. So this is the gate that is open because we did fire seeds, so we do not have to skip it. So we will be coming up to. Oh, I forgot to split, but that's just on my end.
Follow me, Harry.
So yeah, Ron's gonna show us this really cool thing he found. I can't believe he found this really big Quidditch pitch.
This is
Like
the entrance to the Quidditch pitch.
it's so easy to
But
miss.
varshies like us aren't allowed to play. I hear they make. Here comes Ned.
And then Neville's coming by saying that Malfoy stole his Remember All
Come on.
because Malfoy's a jerk. So we're gonna go beat him up.
So look, I think I only think you can.
So Malfoy's gonna fly away and assault us with bludgers that apparently a rich child can afford in Infinite. And then we just have to mash square when we get next to him to bash him. So, for those who don't know, my primary series of speedruns is Crash Bandicoot. So every time I see square to bash, I get very, very concerned. Because there's a game called Crash Bash that is not that good. But otherwise, this fight's pretty straightforward. The way I go about it is X is to accelerate, so I hold that down with my thumb, and then I just mash square with my index finger. That way, whenever I get close to him, I can just hit him. But you don't want to like hold X or hold square because that can break.
Here.
And then Harry just holds the Remember All.
You've got my
I like how Neville just does like a hand wave right there when he.
Mr.
So this is McGonagall, and she's telling you that I don't approve of you beating up the bully, but you are really good on a broomstick. So I'm recruiting you for Quidditch, and the first match is in 2 minutes.
Wow. I just wanted to.
So
Everyone's.
have you guys ever been recruited for a sports team and been like, oh yeah, the next game is right now?
Welcome to the
Happens all too often.
Yeah.
Gryffindors.
At least like the PC game, like the PC version of this game, you beat Malfoy and McGonagall recruits you for the Quidditch match, and then the match is at least that afternoon. It's not like, okay, it's right now. Like, it's about to start. Get on your broom. We already picked out your uniform.
A glint of gold. Is that the
Alright, so this is the first of 2 Quidditch matches. We don't do Quidditch abuse because that skips a massive like 20 minutes of the run. So it's one of the major skips that's banned. So we will be doing this Quidditch match now, and then we'll be seeing the Ravenclaw Quidditch match later on. So yeah, there's not too much about these. It's just flying through rings until we have to catch a snitch. So if there's any more donations have come in, or if there's any more announcements to say, this is the perfect time to do it.
We do have a donation, actually. We have $20 from Tebd_W saying trans rights with a heart. Thank you so much. That puts us at $470, $30 away from 500, which is hard for me to fathom. So thank you so much again for all of the generosity and support of Trans Lifeline. Keep it up, and we can just enjoy some Quidditch, because who doesn't love seeing it?
Thank you for the donation, Tat. It means a lot.
He's getting closer.
So these Quidditch matches are very, very laggy on console. The only one that's particularly terrible is the Slytherin Quidditch match, which thankfully is only a thing in 100%, but it is also the last split of the game. So I always joke that Slytherin is the true final boss of 100%,
Potter's going for it.
because it's laggy to the point that it's almost impossible to control. But Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw Quidditch matches aren't too terrible, thankfully. I like how Madam Hooch is in the audience just like doing this. Alright. So this is Snape,
Is that I'll just
and he confiscates the book by just like doing some weird hand motion like that. Because that's how I wave my wands.
as soon as
And then he's telling you that the Sloth brain is missing, and he thinks Harry did it because Snape thinks Harry does everything. And then this magical piece of paper shows up,
The map shows it. I wonder if it.
and it's showing us where the Sloth brain is. conveniently.
Wow, come on.
Alright, so the way you're supposed to do the Sloth Brain section is that you're supposed to go into this like little forest area over here, and then there's a lever at the end, and you're supposed to pull it, which opens the door on the other side. But wrapping around like that is obviously very slow, and we can actually abuse the geometry to get what's called the Sloth Brain skip, which saves about 40 seconds. We'll see if I get it first try. Oh, wow. It didn't seem too terrible, honestly. I'll try again. That seems pretty bad, but I'll try it as well. I don't know how that one worked. That felt so much worse than the first one. Yeah, so you're not supposed to be able to run up the hedge like that. And I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I think it's just like the specific positioning lets Harry like clip onto the top of it. But that just saves us of the time of just walking around the entire area. And then I'm going to specifically hug the left here because it dodges a cutscene where Hedwig comes by and drops off a letter from Hermione telling you to meet her in the dungeons.
Great, you found.
So it just saves a little bit of time. And then here's another house cutscene.
Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff. Slytherin. Gryffindor. Gryffindor are in the lead on house points. The race for the House Cup is heating up.
Alright, so we're back in the entrance hall, and now we have access to the dungeons. The dungeons are blocked off at the beginning of the game because Snape's standing in the way telling you that he wants his sloth brain. Well, we have his sloth brain, so we're going to give it to him.
Let's go and give Snape. We'll be in big.
Oh. I skipped the dialogue a little too early there. If you cut it off right as Ron is saying trouble, it sounds like he says we'll be in bitch. And I don't know why, but it just does. But there, he just said we'll be in big. And then we have to watch Snape walk away, which is also fun. Alright, so this is the dungeons, and this houses 2 classes actually, but only one that's like the Simon Says minigame or whatever. The first class we're going to do is potions, which is very different from the other classes.
At last, I have an idea. Come on,
So the way potions work is that Snape's going to teach you how to make a Wiggenweld potion, which is the item that replenishes all your health, remarkably. And basically, a random 3-button combination pops up, and you just have to press. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's RNG, but it's not really difficult. You have so much of a time window to do it. And that is it. Like, look at the time bar. I used not even 25% of it.
Good enough.
And then, like, despite the fact that I was lightning fast, Snape was like, wow, you're terrible at this, so he's making us go get fireflies for him. And Harry, in his complete obliviousness, is just looking around the room and doesn't see the guy in the scary cloak firing a green blast at him to send him down to a hole for I don't know what reason. Alright, so this is the firefly section. And there's a cycle here that you can catch to get both of these trolls to fall down the drains very quickly. I'm absolutely terrible at it, so I'm probably only going to get this first one. Yeah, I was a little late. almost got it though. So now we have to wait for this troll to end up back on top of the grating, which takes like 15 seconds. Let's see if I can get a fast unlock on here. Nope, I didn't get it. You can mash square there, and sometimes you're able to open the door immediately, but it's like basically random. Also, that was Raymond, the guy who dropped his cat. I think he deserves it for dropping his cat, so we're not going to help him. The cat doesn't deserve it. I feel bad for the cat, but Raymond's an idiot. Alright. So basically, we have to do things that lift these platforms up to get to the top of the room. And this is the Cauldron Room. It's actually kind of annoying. Because if you fall into this goop, you just end up back at the beginning of the room. But that cycle was actually really good. I did a run yesterday, and the cycle I got there was just absolutely terrible. Alright, so now we have to go into this other room. And this room has a sleeping troll. Now, I would tell you this troll is a light sleeper, but honestly, I can't tell. Because there are certain things that will wake him up, and then certain things that will not. For one, if I fire a spell, he wakes up, so I'm going to not do that. But I can walk up to this lever at the beginning of the room, and listen to how loud this is. And that doesn't wake him up. When I was younger, I thought it would wake him up, so I would always pull the lever and then just like run out of the room. But from there, we have to lift this cage, and you're supposed to lower it on that haystack over there, but that's slow, so we're just going to do that. But that wakes him up somehow. And then trolls lack object permanence, so the moment we leave the door, the troll is convinced that Harry no longer exists, so now the troll just goes back to sleep immediately. So a fun thing we found out very recently is that that door to get into this room, if you fail the flying lesson at the beginning of the run, that door just automatically unlocks for some reason. It's still faster to finish the flying lesson, but if for some reason you fail it, it's just like a nice little backup time save you can get. This is a very interesting cycle. Alright. See if I can get this fast padlock. Oh, I didn't get that one either. And these are the fireflies that Snape wanted. They're conveniently already in the jar. Which is great, because imagine if Harry had to actually get those.
I wasn't give me those fireflies.
And Snape could not believe his eyes, so he said to Harry, "Give me those fireflies." Sorry, I won't say anything like that ever again.
Shout out to Owl City.
Yeah. It's actually a good song. Alright, so now we have to go to Defense Against the Dark Arts. This obstacle course is very, very annoying, actually. Just because if you miss one of these book cycles, you can lose a lot of time. Oh, that was close. This second one, when I was doing a practice run a few days ago, I somehow missed one of the jumps, and I straight up lost a minute just from that one mistake. Like that. We're gonna be here for a while now. I jumped too early. Thankfully, they give you so much time to do this, but the cycle is like just horrible now. Oh, I tried that. I feel like I might have been able to make that. But yeah, this is like a huge time loss. That wasn't too bad. Still wasn't good, but that was better than the one I had a few days ago.
You may today. Get ready.
So this is the first of these mini games that actually has 3 phases.
Perfect. That was good. Excellent. Perfect. Watch out for this.
I like how Coral is straight up for this phase just says watch out for this one.
That was good. Excellent. Perfect. You may now end.
And now we have learned Vertimilius, which is a spell that allows us to materialize transparent platforms to become solid or something. We used it exactly once outside of this class, and I almost fell down the hole. I don't even know how I did that.
Impressive.
Harry, do you remember that? That must be what. Let's split up. Good luck, Harry.
So Hermione's saying something about looking for something that was stolen. So now we're going into the 4-Eye section, which we have to do to get out of the dungeon. Yeah, so this is the one place that Vertimilius is actually used, and it does not show up anywhere else in the game. Alright, so this next section is 4-Eyes, which I actually think is a really cool part of the run. So the doorway out of the dungeons is blocked by these 4 eyes, and basically to break the curse you have to find the source of each of the eyes and destroy it. And there's actually a very specific route we do here. Also, this is Peeves. He's in the book. He's not in the movies. But Peeves is a great character, so it's a travesty that he's not in the movies. We will be seeing Peeves later as well, but this is just our introduction to him.
F's in the chat for Peeves, please.
Absolutely. I would type an F if I had time. Alright, so so we follow a specific route here that just gets us to quickly take care of all 4 of the eyes. So the first eye is the green one. And then we turn around and go this way, and this will take us to the yellow eye. And then I actually do want to take some damage on these flaming turtles that are apparently called fire crabs, but I'm just going to call them flaming turtles because I don't think the developers knew what a crab was. But yeah, I want to intentionally take damage here because this is actually the one part of the game where you can death abuse and it's useful. So when I'm finished with all this, I would like to be as low of health as I can be. But I also don't want to be so low that I die because that would also be bad. Okay, so the floor's slippery there, and slippery physics can be a little weird in this game. That's 3 damage abuses so far. That's not bad at all. Alright, yeah, that's fine. Half health is about good. And then this is the room we were in before, and this just takes us back to the entrance. And then from here, we go up this way. This is the room where we met Peeves, and then we just wrap back around this way, and this will take us to the red eye. Also, Peeves just like shows up there for some reason. I think it's supposed to be like a jump scare or something, but it's just kind of random. Alright, so this is a neat little small time save you can do here. We'll see if I can get it. I think I got it. Nice. Yeah, so I managed to open the door before the Flipendo hit the red eye, and because of that, the cutscene where the eye gets destroyed and me opening the door played at the same time, so it just saved the time of watching the red eye cutscene. Alright, so there's a skip here called Night Skip. It saves like 5 seconds, but if you mess it up, you lose a million years, so I just don't even bother with it. And like every other HP1 runner gets mad at me when I just don't do it, but it's like 5 seconds. Alright, so this is the last eye. And now all the curses are broken, so now we can leave. So normally you would just have to like completely turn around and find your way back to the entrance, but conveniently enough, again, this is the one place where damage abusing is useful. Or death abusing, rather. So you just walk into this hole until you run out of health, and you respawn at the beginning, and the curses are still broken, so you can just run up here and all is well. Alright, so that was Four Eyes. We'll just be leaving the dungeon now. Because, as Nick was telling us there, you are running late for Transfiguration, and you do not want to make Professor McGonagall angry, or she might sign you up for another Quidditch team.
And the match is right now.
Yeah, another match. Alright, so... the next portion of this is just going to be getting to the upper castle, so if there's any donations or other announcements to say, it'll be a good time.
Sure, no donations, so continue to try and get those in so we can hit $500 before the end of the run. But we wanted to shout out our friends here at the Fast Force. Trans Rights, our magical marathon is being held on the Fast Force channel, as you can all see since you're here. It's a speedrunning network where they showcase speedrunning contents of all kinds. So that includes tasks, marathons, races, exhibitions, and they've raised almost $6,000 across their events for multiple charities. So we just wanted to take the time and say thank you so much, the Fast Force, for having us here.
Alright, so this is the upper castle. In any person, the only part of this you see is the Forbidden Corridor, which you actually see at the end of the run just because Quidditch abuse causes a lot of sequence breaking. But through normal gameplay, this is the middle of the run. So we're going to start off with Transfiguration. So this is the last spell we will be learning. And this obstacle course is not nearly as annoying as the one for Defense Against the Dark Arts. So we get to the end, and McGonagall quite ominously tells you, join us.
Transfix anyone. Watch, complete, get ready.
Alright, so this is the last of these mini games, and it's actually kind of annoying, not because it's difficult, but because the last one is very, very long, and if you mess up any of the inputs, it's like 10 seconds lost.
Perfect. Good.
Oh, I got a ghost input there. So in these mini games, I wasn't sure if I would have had to explain this. But there's what can happen when we call a ghost input, where the first input doesn't actually move the cursor, but you still have to hit it in time. And it will also overwrite the first input with whatever the first input of the previous phase was, which outside of one phase of Defense Against the Dark Arts will always be triangle. So it's not really anything bad, but it's kind of something you have to be consciously aware of, and if it happens, you just have to react to it. But I was wondering if I was going to get that in any of these mini games, because it's like somewhat infrequent.
Well done.
Yo, we got Dill Wingo, the world record holder of any percent in the chat. Alright, so this is Aviforce. It lets us turn these stone birds into actual birds.
Well done.
And that was Transfiguration.
Meanwhile,
Oh yeah, there's just like this. I forgot that there's this House Point Hourglass cutscene also.
Ravenclaw. Hufflepuff. Slytherin. Gryffindor. Slytherin.
So now Slytherin's in the lead on house points, and I'm pretty sure they're cheating.
The House Cup is heating up.
And the rest of the students also think they're cheating, clearly. The house points have no effect on the gameplay. Like, it's rigged where Slytherin always starts winning at this point, and then at the end of the game, Gryffindor always wins, because I'm pretty sure they're also cheating. Alright, so we will also turn this stone bird into real bird. This spell is oddly very laggy. I'm not sure why. And then I'm gonna move the camera with the table to save on inputs. That is the wrong doorway. Let's go this way. So Hedwig drops off this parcel, and Peeves is just like, nah, it's mine. So he says, it's chamber pot, let's have it, or I might not. I'm sure someone could decipher what he was trying to say, because I can't figure it out. Alright, so this next thing is a race with Peeves. Where if we beat him in the race, he will give us back our parcel. The only really scary thing about this is that if you go too fast at the end, you can actually soft lock the game. The race itself is not difficult in any way. You basically have to be trying to lose. But I do have to slow down a little bit at the end to not soft lock. And it's completely controllable, and I'm like pretty certain that I will not have it happen. It's just a little nerve-wracking because I'm also not 100% certain I have a proper backup save, but I think it'll be fine. This is actually one of my favorite sections of the game, though. It's just like it's just a cool little like pseudo-platforming section, I guess. It's also got a pretty good song. For those who don't know, this game's soundtrack was composed by Jeremy Soule, who, if I'm not mistaken, is very well known in the gaming music industry. Alright, so I need to wait here a little bit. I need to wait for him to pop out of this wall. Yes. And then from there, I just need to make sure he's just like barely behind me. Alright, we should be good then. If this soft locks, I will be very, very shocked. Okay, we're good. I actually got a little scared for a second. I was like, where is he? Yeah, what happens if you get too far ahead of him is that I guess like the game never triggers him moving again, so he just stands in place, and then you just can't move out of that cutscene. And because you have to wait on Peeves anyway, slowing down for him actually doesn't lose any time. So it's just very important to just slow down there, and there's no downside. Alright. So now we'll be doing the Forbidden Corridor, which again in 90%, this is at the end of the run. But with no major skips, it's in the middle because this is where it's supposed to be.
Well now, students aren't allowed in here,
This is Filch.
are they?
He tells us there are things.
There are things. No, no indeed. Dumbledore has ordered that no... And
then he tells us that Dumbledore has ordered that nose. Alright, so there's this weird thing that Quidditch abuse causes in NA%, where this first door just is automatically unlocked. Which was a very recent discovery. Does not work in this category, so I have to actually get this key. So the invisibility cloak sections really aren't that bad. The only thing that's scary is that if I actually do mess any of them up, then I go back to the very beginning. Thankfully, though, unlike the PC version, Filch can't actually hear us, so as long as you have the invisibility cloak, he will not see you. But in the invisibility cloak section of the PC version of this game, you also have to be like aware of noise you're making as well, and it's actually terrifying.
Well, I see. But we have... There is something we can't let... No, indeed. See that you do, Mr. Filch. I have something special planned for anyone.
And Snape has something special planned for anyone. Anyone at all. Alright, so this next room is actually easier to do without the invisibility cloak than it is to do with it. So the invisibility cloak is all the way over there, but we also have to not get seen by Mrs. Norris. So the way to not get seen by her is we wait for her to get to the very end, and then when she turns around, we can jump. If you jump any sooner, then she will see you. But now we just do this. We don't even bother getting the cloak. We just grab this key, drop down here, and apparently they're both very blind. And that's so much easier and faster than trying to get the cloak. All right, this third room is probably the hardest one, because you have to grab the cloak, and then you have just enough time where you can grab the key, and then you can get to the other door before it runs out, but it is like a somewhat tight window. But I should be able to get it here. There is actually a way to do this cloakless, but I feel like that's not something I would ever recommend. Alright. And then this last room is actually very easy. The only thing you have to remember is that when you enter it, you want to immediately go straight to the right and touch this wall. If you just immediately go for the bookcase, then Filch will see you because he's too close to the door. But touching the wall gives you enough time for him to get away from it. And yeah, that was the Forbidden Corridor. So next up is we go through this door, and then we go past that door that I have no idea what that could possibly be. And now this is straight up like 2 minutes of downtime because we have to watch Harry very quietly tiptoe to the Mirror of Erised, and then the longest storybook cutscene plays right after. So this is the prime moment to say any donations or announcements or whatever.
Oh yeah, I always got stuff. So just to give us a little bit of background about Trans Lifeline and everything that they represent. Trans Lifeline is a grassroots hotline and micro-grants nonprofit organization that offers direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. It's an organization made for the trans community by the trans community. It was founded in 2014 as a hotline that was and still is rather the only service in the country that is operated by entirely people who are transgender. And because of the particularly vulnerable relationship trans people have with the police, it's also the only service in the country that has a policy against non-consensual active rescue. So that's great. Trans Lifeline is primarily funded by people who, donate and things like that. They're committed to being a resource that the trans community can continue to rely on for years to come. And with our support through this event, as well as other avenues of donation, we can keep these vital services available to those in the community who need them most. Fun fact as well, because of their 501c3 nonprofit status, you can save your donation receipt and write it off on your taxes, and your employer may also offer employer matching to donations. So definitely take a look into those two things for the next, we have this run and then tomorrow to see if there's anything that can be contributed as well.
Alright, so this is the troll chase, and look at this beautiful creature.
Harry, you distract the troll and I'll find Hermione.
So as I told you guys, I'm primarily a Crash Bandicoot speedrunner, so this kind of section is very familiar to me. Run backwards, away from the thing chasing me. So I'm pretty sure if you fall into like the green goop or acid or whatever it is here, it's actually an instant death, so have to be very careful to not do that. Also, getting touched by the troll obviously is instant death as well. Oh. I don't know how the torches on the wall just like managed to fly forward like that. I don't think there's too much you can do if they just land in your range, but they also don't really affect anything at all. So that's the first section of Troll. And the second part is in the girls' bathroom. First off, the Troll's gonna fist bump with the wall, which we'll see in a moment.
Are you alright, Hermione?
I love it.
Harry, I'll try to charm
Alright,
the
so
troll's club it
we need
crashes
to
in
make
the
sure
air.
the
Use
troll
your weapon.
doesn't hit Ron. It actually doesn't matter if the troll hits us, we just take damage. But you can tell who the troll's gonna hit depending on where he looks. So if he looks directly at me, he's gonna attack me. If he looks to the left like this, he's gonna attack Ron. But yeah, if he attacks Ron, then it takes longer for Ron to get the club over the troll's head. So from a speedrun perspective, it's important that that doesn't happen. I don't know how I missed that toilet. And that is the troll fight. And unlike the book, where they only get 5 points each for that, we get 25 points for that. So clearly, the game is a lot more fair in how house points are distributed. Because imagine knocking out a troll and only get 5 points. And then this is a letter from McGonagall telling us, "Hey, Harry, you got another Quidditch match."
Mr. Gryffindor,
She even says that she knows it comes on short notice. So, like, she's aware of what she's doing. So this is my favorite dialogue skip in the game.
Getting ready for...
Hagrid?
You mean Fluffy?
Fluff?
You ain't boy, my green chappie. I met
Hagrid?
him
You mean
last year.
Fluffy?
I lent him a Dumbledore.
Apparently that's Hagrid's nickname.
Guard the what?
Don't
It's just Fluffy.
forget.
Who's Nicholas?
Never you mind.
You better get going.
The only name I know him as.
Yeah. I also like the, who's Nicholas, never you mind.
Welcome. The crooks.
Alright, so the Ravenclaw Quidditch match in No Major Skips is actually different from the one in Any Percent, because the one in Any Percent is from the Quidditch League. And just the way the snitch moves, and even the background, is different from the story-based one. I actually would say this one is a little harder than the one in the Quidditch League, but overall it's still not that bad.
Snitch? Potter's seen the snitch? Yeah! Potter's moving in for the kill. Potter's gaining. Excellent. I've not seen such flying. This is amazing.
So this is much of the same with Hufflepuff. There isn't really too much going on. Aside from the fact that the Ravenclaw Seeker just completely rammed into me like a jerk.
Potter's so close. This is amazing. Oh, that was close. Amazing skill. Potter takes the lead. Look at Potter go. Here comes a bludger.
Oh, I missed a ring. Missing a ring is like a second and a half, I think. So missing one isn't too bad, but it can stack up. Especially, like I said, the Slytherin Quidditch match at the end of 100% is really hard to control because of the lag. So you can lose a lot of time just by like losing track of the snitch entirely.
Excellent. Potter's going for it. He caught it. Maximum points for Gryffindor.
Alright, so now we're coming up on what is unfortunately the most boring part of the run, which is the first part of Diagon Alley.
I got some. We need the tonic. So you and I.
So Norbert is sick, so we need to go to Diagon Alley and get the ingredients for the tonic. So Hagrid's basically, come on nerd, we're going shopping. Well, basically, you're going shopping, I'm gonna go get drunk. I'm not even kidding, he's going to the Leaky Cauldron to get a butterbeer.
We need 3. Go to Gringo. I'm off to the leak.
If you properly time that dialogue skip, you can make him say, I'm off to the leak. Right. So it's not worth trying to like move the camera to reduce lag here, because you still have to wait for that girl to enter the doorway before you can actually enter Gringotts. Alright. So Gringotts is very straightforward and pretty easy in non 100%. What makes it so terrifying in 100% is that there's 3 mini games here, and you have to collect a certain amount of coins to finish each mini game, which isn't too bad. The part that's difficult, I'll explain actually after this, because the first thing we have to do is we have to collect paperwork, and this is not a very organized bank. To access our bank, we need to collect paperwork, which they've scattered all over the floor for some reason. Also, the floor is waxed to the point that it's very slippery, so I'm not sure really what they're trying to do here. But yeah, so I have to collect coins and like a certain amount to pass the mini game. What makes this really difficult in 100% is that there's also what's called bonus gems, and if you collect all the bonus gems, you are awarded a wizard card, which is required for 100%. But if you miss any of them, then you don't get the wizard card, and you have to do the entire mini game again. And there's no way to quit the mini game. So if you miss a gem, you have to finish the entire mini game and then try it again. In any percent, it's actually better to miss at least 1 gem, because grabbing the wizard card loses time. And I will go for most of the bonus gems. One, because it's always just good practice for 100%. And also, I used to have the record in 100%, so I think I kind of just like have to flex and see if I can still do this. Alright, I'm gonna intentionally miss these ones though. That way I don't actually get the wizard card. But yeah, otherwise these mini games are completely auto-scrollers, and there's 3 of them, so this is really just, this is a solid like 10 to 11 minutes of auto-scroller. Also, I straight up do not remember this part of the book. I'm pretty sure it didn't happen.
Yeah, for some reason, with all of these versions of Harry Potter 1, there's always a part where you just go back to Diagon Alley in the middle, and that never happens. Never.
Yeah, I think the reason is that, like, aside from the GBC version, which does actually start in Diagon Alley, all of the other versions of the game, like the PC and the PS1 version, they start in, like, at Hogwarts, and I guess they wanted to use Diagon Alley somehow, so this was their way of doing it, is that they just send you back there at some point. I think the PC version actually doesn't go there at all, but it's like the PS1 version, I think they just wanted to use it.
I see. If you wish to.
All right, so
yeah, that makes sense. And GBC version is I go twice. So.
Oh, you do? I didn't know. I've never finished the GBC version. I knew it started in Diagon Alley. I didn't know you go back.
Yeah, you have to go back to get a wizard card for History of Magic.
Interesting. I know the PS1 version of Chamber of Secrets goes back to it. For getting ingredients for the Polyjuice potion. And then I think HP2 on 6th gen, it doesn't start in Diagon Alley, but you go there as like the progression of the story. You just go there at the time you're supposed to. But I've never finished the 6th gen version either, so I don't know if you go back.
Hello, Mr. I wonder if you got a bonus. Be careful, Mr. Remember, swing. Good luck.
Alright, so Sickle in any percent is the same as all the other ones, essentially. In 100%, this is the hardest one to get bonus gems in. Again, I'm just going to do it to see if I can. It never hurts to practice this because it doesn't lose any time to grab the bonus gems unless you grab all of them. And that's just because getting the wizard card saves time. So as long as you miss one on purpose, it's fine. And it's just good practice if you do actually run 100%. Also, being able to grab all the bonus gems makes you very popular in elementary school, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. I'm fairly certain this game was like all the rage back then. Not sure. basically walk up to the cool kids like, yeah, I can get all the bonus gems and Gringotts. And then they just look at you like you're weird.
Perfectly relatable.
Yeah, this is totally not based off of my own experiences. It's actually not. This is the one that trips most people up. Oh, I missed it. I'm washed. That is like the hardest section of bonus gems to get across like all three of the mini games though, so. It's because it comes up on you so quickly.
Congratulations. Please return.
Alright. So we have one more of this minigame, which is Galleon, which you think would be the hardest one, but it's not. It might be the hardest paperwork. Oh wow, yeah. Even getting to the paperwork is clearly very difficult. I don't know how they wax the floor so much so that it's a safety hazard at this point, but they managed to do it. That goblin right there, that one waxing the floor, he is the real villain of Harry Potter.
Yeah, do goblins just not have a problem walking on the waxed floor?
Maybe not. Oh god. The goblin's just like, look at this idiot. Can't believe he can't walk on the waxed floor. The PS1 version of Chamber of Secrets takes very aggressive liberties with slippery floor, and it's very obnoxious the first time you play it. It's just like, wow, they're like, let's just make this floor slippery. Why? Alright, so these coins are higher up, so it's better to just flip upside down and get them. And I actually did not know this until I watched Ginger's run earlier today. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that. I'm gonna skip these gems though, so again, just to make sure I don't get the wizard card. But yeah, I used to do the whole swinging left to right to get those gems, and then I saw her just flip herself upside down. I was like, that seems so much better.
We'd love to see that. Runners learning from other runners in mid-marathon.
Definitely. And I was like, huh, I can use that in my own run tonight. I messed up this one also. This is why I don't do 100%. The thing is, the run I was actually supposed to do before we switched it to no major skips was actually all wizard cards, which is not quite 100%, but it is similar in a lot of ways, and the biggest similarity is that you do have to get all of the wizard cards, including these ones. So maybe it's a good thing I did this all instead. Otherwise we might be here for a while. I do think this is a much safer category for marathons. Like, it's a lot less likely that something's going to go wrong. And I also think it's a better show-off of the entire game, because all wizard cards does have the Quidditch abuse. So you still wouldn't have seen, like, much of the upper castle. I'm missing a lot of these coins. I hope I'm not too short on them. I'm gonna actually focus so I can just get the rest of them. There's still a lot more. I just want to make sure I don't miss any. Alright, we're good. Alright.
Very well done, Mr. You can return to...
So we're almost done with this. So we just have to leave the bank or die trying. I don't know, one of the two. And then we can get a dialogue skip here, but it's like kind of tight. Let's see if we get it. We got it. Alright, so now that we have money, we have to go buy the ingredients. So the first one we're going to do is get the Toad Wart. And this one is annoying because it's just RNG. So the toad is hiding in these crates, and which one it shows up in is random.
Just once you find, be quick though.
You can catch if he's on the first floor though at the beginning, and he was not. Okay, so he's in that. The crate he's in shakes, and it shakes at the start of the minigame. So if he's on the bottom floor, then you can just go to him immediately, and he will never be on the top floor twice in a row. This is the third run in a row where I've gotten top floor, bottom floor, top floor, which is the worst RNG. But yeah, there's not too much you can do about that. This is just like one of the grosser parts of the run.
Yeah, Tia's run earlier, she got really favorable RNG here, so now we get to see both sides. I appreciate you showing that off for us.
Yeah, I was completely in control. I planned the bad RNG. Alright, so this is Ollivander's. You have to get 3 peacock feathers, and you can't use your wand on the peacock, because apparently it's really dangerous. I don't know if it's dangerous for the peacock or for me. But basically, Ollivander gets really mad if you do. This one isn't entirely RNG, but it's obnoxious enough that it kind of feels like it. Also, I don't know where this bird is. There it is. It's also, like, really laggy, but you can kind of predict the peacock's movement, but sometimes it can just, like, jerk around, and it's not cooperating. I had a really bad one of these when I was practicing the super speed run that I'm doing tomorrow. Oh, wow, this is terrible. Jeez. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Sometimes when you have, like, particularly good peacock sections, like, you're already done with the minigame by now. This is not good at all. Alright. It's not the worst one I've ever had, though. Let's see if I can get it here. So these crates actually have invisibility cloaks, but they don't actually do anything. The peacock won't react to you until you're on top of it, at which point it will start to run away. So it's actually just useless. Yeah, this is really, really bad. Wow. That has to be the worst peacock I've had in a while. If not, it's either worse or second worst to the one I had like a few days ago. That was really, really bad. So
Peacock has been cursed tonight.
Yeah, Peacock is a really, really gross minigame because it's like, it's not full RNG like the Toad is, but it's so annoying to follow it that it sometimes just feels worse anyway. Thankfully, the last of these minigames is completely easy.
My eagle, his treats are use the once he's.
So here, you just have to get 3 feathers from the owl, and you get it to fall asleep by feeding it peanuts. And this is 100% not RNG. The owls are on a cycle, and as long as you keep the peanut close to the floor, the only time the owls can possibly eat it is as it's going over the gate. Oh, well, I guess that's my fault. I was like, he won't eat it, and then he ate it. It's okay, we get to hear more of the song, which is a really good one. So it's not too much time lost. It's probably like 10 seconds max. Probably not even. It's probably closer to 5. This game really does like its threes. 3 Toad Warts, 3 Phoenix Feathers, 3 Peanuts. Alright, so we're nearing the end of that. Oh, it was 10 seconds. Wow.
Well done.
Alright, so now we get to heal Norbert.
Home again at last. Now we'll give the dragon tonic to Norbert.
We've done it. Oh, I'm glad he'll want to go.
Alright, so this is another storybook where it's basically telling us that,
Harry, Ron, and Hermione.
this is the part where Norbert gets sent away, and then they get caught. Oh, hold on, I opened up the stream because I need something for Fast Incendio, and the volume turned itself on. Anyway, so yeah, so we get caught, sent to detention, and now we are going to the Forbidden Forest. And we have to find the thing that's killing the unicorns.
Harry was caught by Professor McGonagall. For his detention, Harry was to make his way into the Forbidden Forest and search for a wounded unicorn.
Alright. So there's a lot of cool things you can do in the Forbidden Forest. Right. There's like 2 or 3 instances of Incendio here, so I have a guide of the Fast Incendio inputs up because I don't have these ones memorized.
Incendio!
So a fun little fact about this game is that there's 2 types of Flipendo. There's the normal Flipendo and then there's fully charged. And if you do a mostly fully charged Flipendo, it still has the same strength as a fully charged one. So there, I just let go a little early and still got the same effect. So here's a thing called bridge skip. I'm going to try it like once, and if I don't get it, I'm just going to do this normally. It saves like 12 seconds if you get it, though. Oh, well, okay, I'm going to try it better than that. Oh, that was so close. Okay, I'm just going to do the bridge. You can clip into like the scenery there. Hold on. Yeah, you can clip into the scenery there, and then if you land in a specific spot on the bridge, the plants don't actually hurt you because their hitbox doesn't extend that far. And then you can just skip the bridge entirely. It's a small time save, but it's cool when it works out. It just didn't there, so it's not a big deal. And then we got more of these fire quote-unquote crabs. These are clearly turtles. Why did he... That was weird. He usually just like stays in place and just attacks. I don't know why he started moving.
I doubt don't get lost.
Like how Malfoy tells you to not get lost as he walks in the complete opposite direction of where you're supposed to go. Fast Incendio did not work there when I tried it. Sometimes the game just like drops inputs. Alright. Oh, come on. What is up with... These turtles are not cooperating. Alright. Alright, so there's one more like little tiny skip in the Forbidden Forest.
I see you. There's some...
So we can dodge this last Incendio here by just coming up here, and then with the perfect angle you can just clip into the wall like that. So the way Harry interacts with collision is very interesting, and if you just walk directly into a wall, he'll start sliding into it, and eventually the game will proxy you up to the top. We'll be seeing a lot of that in my run tomorrow as a little spoiler and or tease. Also, that's my favorite cutscene. The Harry and the dark figure just have a stare down before Harry just passes out.
Harry was rescued in the nick of time by the centaur Firenze.
Alright, so this is essentially the beginning of the end game.
Firenze explained the unicorn blood,
or
and the power to keep
it's the precursor to the beginning of the end game, I guess.
Harry realized that the hooded figure he'd seen in the clearing was none other than he who must not be named, Lord Voldemort.
So here, Hagrid's gonna give us a flute, and he's gonna teach us how to use it. And the flute will be very important.
In fact, try it out on.
All right.
Out like a, but you'd best be.
I've been doing some reading about Nicholas Flamel, the wizard that Hagrid mentioned.
Can we talk about how Hermione says Nicholas Flamel instead of Nicholas Flamel?
We have to. Ron and I will. Come on, Ron. I suppose.
Alright, so Hermione wants you to meet her and Ron at the 3rd floor. So we have to walk all the way back to the 3rd floor. This is actually a portion of the run that is conveniently cut out of any percent, because in the way any percent is sequenced, you actually have to get the Sloth brain at this point. And because of that, when you get the Sloth brain, it just immediately puts you back at the entrance hall, so you don't have to do this walk back. So from here we just have to enter the Forbidden Corridor again. And then from here we will be beginning the end game. There is one more hourglass cutscene here, so this is like a good spot for like a quick donation or announcement.
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you are somebody who has been generous enough to have donated during our marathon to Trans Lifeline, which is of course an excellent nonprofit that supports trans people in crisis for the trans community by the trans community. If you save your donation receipts as well, because it is a 501c3 nonprofit, you may be able to do two things. You could write them off on your taxes, so hold on to that receipt, as well as you may be able to get an employer match if your employer does charitable donations. So be sure to hold on to those records and see if they can be, turned into your employer for matching.
Alright, so this is the beginning of the end game, and this is the first one. This is Fluffy.
Only Hagrid, of course.
And this is where we use the flute that he gave us. He's supposed to attack us here, and then he didn't. Interesting. I think there are just some times where he doesn't. So yeah, we just have to put all 3 heads to sleep. I guess I was too slow there. Nice. So this is Devil's Snare. We just have to hit the... We have to kill the tentacles in a certain order. I didn't get the cutscene there. I don't know why. I've never seen that. The cutscene just didn't load. So now we've killed all the tentacles, we have to kill the primary one. And this is where the mostly charged flipendo comes in handy, because when you're the proper distance from it, and with just mostly charged flipendos, you can just like very quickly take it out like this. This is the final incendio of the game. Oh, I am nowhere near the door. Oh, wow, the camera really screwed with me there. Alright, that's fine.
Time to put your good luck, Harry.
Alright, so this is Winged Keys. This is the last flying broom section. It's basically Quidditch again. Except now there are flying keys attacking me that it's mostly irrelevant, but...
I have a feeling this is fine, but would you like me to read out a donation right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we have $30 from Rico, who says, announcement, please. That does it. $500. We will go ahead with that announcement after Rico's run.
Nice. Oh, wow, that missed? Okay. Alright. So, next up is the chest portion of the underground chambers, which is basically the end game. So in that short time between Ron reaching the door and you reaching the door, he managed to take out most of the pieces on 3 different chessboards. But now you have to finish it off because he's too hurt. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think this is how chess works, but like every piece moves exactly 1 square and there's friendly fire. And when you take out a piece, that piece also dies. So they're basically also bumblebees. I don't know. Yeah, so every chessboard I'm doing a specific pattern of movement to make it so that the chess pieces very quickly take themselves out. And aside from just like inputting the proper direction, this is basically an auto scroller. Oh wow, it just didn't go on. So this is the one that takes the longest just because it has the most pieces and they're like the most spread out from each other. But each of them like fall, like the pattern is really easy to remember. Like the first one you go up You start on the right, go up 2, and then down left. And then the second one, you start on the left and just make an N. And then this one, you start on the left, go all the way diagonal, and then go diagonal back. Also, somehow, there's 2 queens on this chessboard on the black team, which means at some point when Ron was playing, a pawn got to the other side. I'm not really sure how this chess game is working. Also, at this point, the white team should have just won because they're the only pieces left. So, basically, they had no idea how chess works. Maybe that's why Ron couldn't win. He was like, this isn't chess. Okay, so this is what I like to affectionately call Troll 2 for no reason in particular. So for those who don't know, this is actually like kind of a section in the book. There's an obstacle in the book that didn't make it in the movie, which is another troll. The difference is that in the book it's already knocked out, so they don't even have to do anything about it, which is probably why it's not in the movie. But basically, the troll's waking up. Hermione loudly screams, "Oh no, it's waking up!" and then realizes it's still asleep. So she's like, "Oh wait, no, she should be quiet." So we have to get all of these out of the way and make sure the troll doesn't run into any of them, and we don't accidentally wake him up. This section is really easy, but it personally just terrifies me because I was always scared of it as a kid. Also, we can't just run to the end and pray, because if the troll hits any of these, it actually triggers a cutscene that kills you. It's not like actual gameplay. So like the troll will wake up and Harry will just appear in the middle of the room regardless of where he was, and then you just have no control and you'll just automatically die. So we do have to actually do this. But there's this neat little cutscene coming up, similar to the one in the 4 Eyes section where like we can overlap cutscenes. We can also overlap cutscene of the troll falling into this hole with the cutscene of Wingardium Leviosa, and we'll just regain control sooner. Just like that. And then this next puzzle is also inspired by something that was in the book but not the movie, but it's not really quite the same thing. Alright.
Looks like you'll have to choose. Did you see the sim?
So we have to get a potion, and in the book this is a logic puzzle, which is why Hermione is the one who's able to figure it out. But here it's just a game of the thing is hiding in the cup and pick the right cup. And then we pick the right cup, and then just have to kill the knight. And it's that easy.
Great, Harry. I'm going to.
Alright. So we're nearing the end of the game now. There's just 2 more fights. Well, 2 more boss fights, and there's like a couple like mini fights beforehand. Alright, so in every other category, there's a skip that exists here called Clody Skip. And it's basically a very precise and annoying jump that skips the 2 phases of knight fights here, followed by a boss fight with a giant knight. I never really considered this a major skip, but when we were formulating the category, it was deemed a major skip because it just cuts out so many fights. So it was considered a big enough sequence break. So this is the only category in the game where you will see this fight, which I guess is kind of cool because we wouldn't see it otherwise. They are not cooperating. Alright, so after this is a boss fight with a big knight. And how many times he swings his sword depends on the phase he's in. The first 3 phases he swings once. And then every other phase he swings 3 times, or twice. The second to last phase he swings twice. And then the last phase he swings 3 times. So I took a lot of damage there, so I'm gonna err on the side of caution and drink the Wiggenweld potion that's right outside the final boss fight.
Damn you, puppet.
Because if you die in the Voldemort fight, you have to do this entire section over again. So yeah, just to be safe, we're gonna grab this. Alright, so this is the final boss fight. This is Voldemort. There is a way to do the first phase of this fight very quickly. We call it Fast Voldy, and when done correctly, it saves about a minute. It takes audio cues though, so I'm gonna focus, and because basically I just need no noise.
Hey, Harry Potter. But must I have? And
Flipendo! 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 Flipendo!
Alright, we should be good. Alright, so this next phase can't really be manipulated too much, but just with the Fast Voldy phase there, I've essentially just saved a minute off of the entire fight. Also, when you do Clody skip in this fight, all the audio is messed up because the music cues from the previous fight don't stop. So it's actually really weird to hear this with normal audio that's not glitched. Yeah. So yeah, this phase takes 4 hits, and you can only hit him when he is directly in front of the mirror. And then I try to get, you have to hit the mirror twice to fire the blast at him, so I try to get the first hit in early because it just saves me the time of doing it here. Alright, and then there should just be one more phase of this. Alright, so this is the last phase, and it's basically you just have to mash square and then hit X every time it tells you to. So you have to hit him 4 times here, so, and time is on the final hit, so I'll call it out when it's there, but it's still like probably about 30 seconds away. Alright, so time is coming up after this last hit. And time. I got 142.46 on my end, I think. I don't know. Regardless, that was solid enough run. HP1, PS1, any percent, no major skips. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have been enjoying the marathon, and we'll be back tomorrow at the end of the marathon again to do Super Speed, which is a really, really entertaining category, so I very much recommend you guys tune in to watch that.
Dumbledore smiled.
Yes, absolutely. Super Speed is an excellent run. Had to have it in the marathon. Any other shout-outs or plugs you want to do before we transition to our final message for day one?
Sure. Shout-outs to everybody who's marathon. It's a very good cause and very good message in terms of the the anti-trans rhetoric that J.K. Rowling has said. Very, very disappointing to hear that from someone we looked up to as a child and made such a fantastic franchise. But yeah, trans lives matter so much. Like, trans rights are human rights. Yeah, trans rights are magical. Shout outs to all my friends who support me. Everybody in the HP1 PS1 community, you guys are all Ringo, Egder, Raging Redneck, and so many other people I'm forgetting. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll leave it to you for the final announcement.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful run and that wonderful message at the end, Rico. We're just going to get ready to transition here, and we'll say our final messages for the first day of day 1.
All right, sounds good.
Potter's pure nerve and outstanding courage, I award Griffin